And we are back at the C. Allen Morning Show. Good morning. This is William Cook, and I'm here and happy to be here today. And we're going to get into a couple of things about men's grooming. How do you find a good barber, and how do you build your clientele? We're about to get down into that right now.
I know that's right. All right, listen, Mr. Cook. So now talk to us really quickly here about how did you, give us your story. How did you get into the beauty industry, and how did you end up being the lead instructor at the Bennett Career Institute?
Well, I was infatuated with this trade since around my teen years, and I didn't pursue it till I got into my mid to late 20s. And as I got into this field, I just developed a passion. As the years went on, my sole desire was to be a great barber, to cut consistently good hair. I had a great teacher. I had Dirk Davis as my teacher, and I applied everything he told me to do, such as a barber always has a comb in his or her hand. His blade theory technique. I never missed class. I was always the first one to arrive, last to leave. I stayed in my book. You know, it was.
So, Mr. Cook, not to cut you off, let me ask you this question. So then, what is your take on the barber industry today? Because, I have a problem with barbers coming to work at 1 in the afternoon or 3 in the afternoon, and then the basic stereotypes in reference to, they're cutting on the telephone. And I'm not saying all barbers do this, of course, but the basic stereotypes that normally follow barbers with the pants hanging and all that kind of stuff. How do you feel that the industry is today? What's your take?
Wow. Today it is part of it is because some of these guys are getting into this game or this trade, perhaps per se, because they see freedom. They don't want to punch in. They don't want to have to take a 30-minute lunch and have to come back and all that kind of stuff. They see this trade as freedom. They see this trade as I can get to work when I feel like it. They see this trade as I can take a 3-hour lunch. They see this trade as I can come and go as I please. I can do as I please. And I've noticed students, at the Bennett Career Institute, and I tell them how you perform in this school is indicative of how you're going to perform as a barber.
That's right.
I took my students on a field trip and to a barber shop. I took them to Michael Craig, and Michael Craig spoke with them. He said some people get into this field because they feel like they can come and go as they please. You're not going to make it as a barber.
That's right.
If you're going to get clientele, if you're going to be a successful barber, you are the first to arrive, last to leave.
And pause right there. The problem that I'm having, Mr. William Cook, is apparently it seems like that's not sticking in their heads. I have a problem riding by a barbershop at 10 in the morning and the barbershop isn't open. I have a problem when you go in some barbershops, all the chairs are empty but 1 or 2, and the 1 or 2 people are backed up, but the barbershop is full. You can tell the other barbers are there. And I have a problem that when the girlfriend comes, they disappear for about an hour, hour and a half. And I think that part of what we need to do, and I'm assuming you help me out here, is that we need to go back to the history of barbering. I think our guys need to know, our rich history, and to know that there's only a few, licensed professions. There's only few that has that rich history, and barbering happens to be one of them.
Exactly.
And I don't believe that we're holding up to our profession.
Well, too many are looking at the shine. Too many are looking at.
Well, wait a minute. Too many people looking at the shine, but they don't want to grind.
Right.
I like that one.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
That's right. They look at The guy cut pretty good hair. They look at what he's driving, what he's wearing.
Okay.
But they don't pay attention to every time they walk in, that guy is always there.
Listen,
you know.
Listen to this. Nega McConan, this is his last week at the Sea Island Barber Salon. He's from Ethiopia, and he's moving back to Ethiopia. Listen, Alonzo, he said to me, Mr. Bennett, I've been with you for 4 years. Now I have saved enough money to buy a house in Ethiopia. I just got married. I have a 7-month-old, and I'm able to really go back home and start my own business based on what I've done here on U Street at the Sea Island Barber Salon. And that's because he's one of the few who's at work in every morning, and he's there until he finishes all his clients. Very professional, know how to cut all textures of hair, all of that. And I tell everyone else, that should be your example. Many times people aren't making money because they're not there.
Right.
They're not there.
Right. They're not there. And then I'm noticing barbers put their self in a box. You know, the men's hairstyles today is wide open.
That's right.
They've gone back to the retro high top fade. Who'd have thought that they would have made a mohawk a fashion statement?
That's right.
Back in the day, a mohawk was a sign that you were crazy. You know?
A punk rocker.
Yeah, punk rocker, whatever. Now it is a fashion statement. More guys are getting into color now, the Beijing color.
That's right.
And I've seen barbers literally limit themselves to a low, dark haircut, a regular haircut with a shape up and neck fade. So when the client gets in the chair and says, I want a mohawk, I want a Beijing, I want a high top fade, they can't do that. And they will, and I've actually seen barbers talk people out of the haircut they wanted.
Wow.
Not because it didn't work for them, because they didn't know how to cut. I heard one guy tell him, you don't want that haircut. You know, you want a low haircut, you know, because he did not want to work.
Well, one of the things that, Mr. Cook, one of the things that I appreciate about DC State Board is the continuing education units, because now it's going to make barbers in the District of Columbia go back for additional training and additional education, because you have to remember that our license is a barber stylist license. It's not just a regular barber license, it's a barber stylist license. So we have the opportunity to do a lot more things. With that extra 300 hours, we're able to do the coloring, we're able to do the chemicals, we're able to do other different things, so we can get out of that box.
Yeah, and we definitely need that. If you're going to be successful in this trade today, you must have a range of services. You can't just be limited to one thing. You got to be able to cut, not only be able to consistently cut good hair, you've got to invest your time into doing chemicals. And some guys even stop using razors. I don't understand that either. You know, you've got to have a wide range of services. You can't just be able to just cut kinky hair. You know, we it's technically called over curly, but you guys on the street, we know kinky hair. You got to be able to cut straight hair. You got to be able to cut that soft curly hair. You know what I mean? You've got to be able to cut women. You got to have the patience to cut kids. You can't just put yourself in a box.
You talking.
When you put yourself in a box, that's as far as you can go. You know.
Okay. All right. We're going to go to the phone lines. We have C on the line. C, what's your comment? We're talking about men's grooming.
Yes. Good morning, gentlemen. Fine show.
Good morning.
I wanted to just ask a question regarding how to find a good barber, and also how to best negotiate the subject of what you want in the way of a haircut with your barber, so that they don't get offended. I've noticed going in to get haircuts from barbers that I sit in their chair for the first time, if I try to let them know what I want, sometimes there is resistance to that.
Wow.
Well, first of all, to answer your first question, how do you find a good barber? This is where things like the morning show come to play. I'm not just, and do not get me wrong, I'm not just talking about the Sea Island Barber Salon at 923, but we do have 9 barbers there that do extraordinary work. But Mr. Cook is another one. He's also an instructor, but he also works at Ebony Barbers right in PG Plaza, and he's a licensed instructor who can give you great work. But to answer the question about oftentimes how to find a good barber, a lot of times it's based on referral. If you see another guy that has a great haircut, you know, you may want to ask him, hey, would you refer your barber? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's based on you getting a referral. You know, other times, you know, it's based on coming to the school and asking professionals, you know, where could you go? You may not want to come into the school for the $5 haircut, but you may want to go to a professional, and that is another way, because we have graduates everywhere, and we're able to find someone to meet your need. Now, I want you to hold that because we got to go to break, but we got to answer your second question.
I'll take your recommendation. I respect your recommendation from both Mr. Cook and yourself, C. Allen. So you said 923, is that U Street?
Yeah, 923 U Street on first and second levels. Now, okay, now really quick, I want to answer that second question after break. What was that second question?
How to negotiate with a new barber so that you don't offend them, because I find that the younger barbers get a little offended.
All right. Okay, we got to go to break. All right, everybody, we'll be right back after these messages. The C. Allen Morning Show.